welcome to Getting Started with Page Builder. With the Page Builder, we can completely replace the default AgilePoint user experience by creating our own pages and menus. So let's get started by clicking into the Page Builder module. And from within the Page Builder module, you can see that this component consists of pages that you might create for your team, department, or project, as well as menus to navigate between pages. Now before we start building, let's familiarize you with all that's available in the Page Builder homepage. So as you can see, I have buttons to add a page as well as add a menu. If I've replaced the default AgilePoint homepage, I'll see that here, as well as my default portal menu. In other words, replacing the menu that you see here at the top of the screen. You're seeing here that I have a breakdown of active versus inactive pages, as well as a breakdown of total pages and total menus. Underneath, you're going to see recently created pages, recently modified pages, any pages that I've bookmarked, as well as any published pages. On the left-hand side of my screen, I have a menu for the Page Builder homepage, where we are now, Page Designer, Menu Designer, Library, and the trash can. So let's click into each. So here you're seeing a number of pages that have been previously created. Some of them have been dropped into individual folders. And on the top right, you're seeing various action buttons, adding a new page, adding a folder, or importing a page from another AgilePoint environment. So let's click Add a Page. I'm going to name this the version 8 training page. And as you can see here, AgilePoint gives me an internal name as well as a relative URL, which I can change as I desire. So as you can see here, we've been dropped into the Page Designer, and we can now begin building out our page. Now as you can see, from here I can add a row to my page, and you'll notice that the Add Widget button becomes available. So when clicking into Add Widget, you'll find that widgets fall under various categories, as you're seeing here. Under the Content category, we have buttons, AgilePoint eForms, which we can show on the page, headings, AgilePoint's Work Center, rich text, hyperlinks, stacked hyperlinks, and raw HTML. Underneath Media, you'll find Audio, Embed, Image, and Image Carousel. Underneath Cards, you'll find Animation Card, Audio Card, Embed Card, Profile Card, Image Card, Flip Card, Thumbnail Cards, Metro Cards, and Video Cards. For layout, you'll see the ability to add a row, a horizontal or vertical menu, as well as vertical and horizontal dividers. And then new in AgilePoint version 8 is the ability to embed analytics report parts. Okay, so let's start our page by adding a heading from the content section. Now here, I can apply an image as a URL or from the image library, as well as apply a background color. Now here, I can use the color picker, or simply bring in a hex code. You'll notice down below, I can also apply a CSS class from my library. But for now, let's just click Add. Now when I select the text in my header, you'll notice that the rich text editor becomes available. And we'll change the heading style to header 1, as well as change the text itself. Now let's select the text and we'll center align it. And let's also change the text color to white. From here, we can adjust the row height. So if I hover my cursor over the bottom boundary, we can adjust up and down as appropriate. You'll notice that in adjusting the row height here, on the left-hand side, we're showing the height in terms of pixels. I can also click into this here to auto-adjust the row height. For our demo, let's adjust this to 65 pixels. Next, let's add a row. So as you're seeing here, I can add a row below as well as above. But for now, let's add a row below. So let's add a widget. And from the media category, we're going to select image. So when adding an image, you'll notice that we have two options: the ability to specify a URL or select an image from our library. In my case, I have a URL. And as you're seeing here, I have a slider to maintain the image's original ratio, or I can manually adjust height and width myself. And for now, we can click the Add button. Next, let's add another row below. And we're going to want to add two widgets here. So let's go to the right-hand side and we'll add a second widget. Our left column, we're going to add a card. So we'll go to the card section and we'll add a profile card. So first, let's give a background color. Again, I could select the color with the picker or specify my own hex code. Next, let's add the image for the profile itself. So we'll specify a web URL and drop in our link. Next, let's add a URL to the footer action link URL section. And we'll also add link text. So now we can add our card. Looks like we're having a little bit of an issue with our image here, so let's fix that. All right. So let's save and close this, and we can change the text here under our profile card. Now before we go much further, let's quickly discuss how to select the various elements on our page. When we double click into a cell, we're going to find the properties of a given widget within that cell. If I'd like to select the cell itself, I would simply select the outer boundaries of a given cell. Now you'll notice when I have a particular widget selected that I have a menu here at the top. Clicking the up icon is going to select the entire cell itself. As you can see here, I have the ability to select the content within, to edit the properties for this given widget, copy the formatting, or copy the widget itself. And then lastly is the ability to delete this widget. For the next widget, we're going to go to the content column, and then we'll select rich text. Now optionally, I can drop a CSS class from my library, but for now, let's just paste in text. With the text added, let's scroll down and we'll add a new row. So let's add a widget, and from the content category, let's again select the heading. So again, let's change the background color, and then click Add. So this section will be called Demo Cards. And again, let's select the text, center align it, change it to header style 1, and change the text color again to white. Let's change the height back down to 65. And let's add another row. Now this row is going to have 4 columns, so let's double click in and we'll add 3 rows. In our first row, we're going to add a widget. Underneath the card section, we're going to add an image card. Now for our image, we're going to use a URL. We're going to leave all of the defaults here. I will point out that you can optionally include a hyperlink, and if so, I would put the link URL, the type of link, and configure button settings. But for now, let's just click Add. Next, we can modify the text of our card. And we'll add a description. Okay, so let's add our next widget. Again, this will be under the card category, and this time the animation card. Again, we'll specify a URL and leave all of the default settings. Okay, so let's add some text for our animated card. Okay, so let's add our next widget. Again, this will be under the card category, and this will be a video card. We'll add our video file URL, and similarly, we'll add our thumbnail URL. Again, here we have the option to implement a hyperlink, but for now, let's just click Add Card. Okay, so we've added our video card. And for our final card in this row, we'll go back to our widgets, the cards section, and this time audio cards. So I'll paste in my audio URL, and we'll do the same thing for our image. And we'll leave everything else at the default. And now let's add text. And then lastly, our description. Okay, so let's add another row. From the widgets, we're going to select heading. Again, we're going to give this a background color via hex code. We'll change the text to social. Change the style to header 1. Center align it. And change the text color to white. Underneath, let's add another row. In this row, we're going to have 2 widgets, and our first is going to be embedding an AgilePoint eForm. So we're going to select eForm. This is going to be a process-based application, and I'm going to select the Contact Us application, as well as the Contact Us process. While this is rendering, let's add another widget. We'll go to Media, select Embed, and we're going to embed a social stream, in this case, Yammer. And let's drag this row down a little bit so we can see more. So as you can see here, I have my AgilePoint eForm embedded, as well as my Yammer stream. Okay, so let's add another heading. So first we'll add a row. We'll add a single widget. From the content section, we're going to select heading. Select our background color. And then click OK. Now we're going to change the text here to Submit Support Ticket. Let's select the text, change it to header 1, center align it, and change the text color. Okay, so let's add another column and add a widget. Now in this case here, we're only going to add one single AgilePoint eForm to this row, just to show you how a page can consist of multiple application components. So we'll select eForm. We're going to leave process-based application selected. And then I'll select the help desk application from my list and the help desk process. Now here, optionally, I can show the title and specify my own custom title, or simply leave it blank and click Add. Now this is a larger form, so I'm going to drag this down to give us a little more of a view of the form. And our page is now complete. So let's save our work. We'll check in our changes. Now, as you can see here, I have a few options. For one, I can preview my page. As you can see here, all of our images, all of our cards, our Yammer thread, and various embedded forms are now showing up on screen. You'll see here, I have the ability to publish this application so that it can be used in my tenant. And optionally, I have a menu here to export this page so that I can move it between my pre-production environments. I can see the publication history of this page. But where I will like to spend just a moment is under permissions here. Now, page builder permissions have been covered in great detail in its own video where we specify how do we give access to own pages, to design against them. But I want to spend a moment here around page viewers, right? Because the pages that you create could contain potentially sensitive information. So as a result, we want to restrict the users that can view a given page. All right, so here you're seeing an option to enable all users to view the page. This might come in handy if you're creating a landing page for the entire company, as an example. And then we do also have the ability to grant specific access to users and to groups. So as you can see here, I've added a group. I can go back and follow a very similar process to add individual users. So let's publish this page. Now, once I've published the page here, you see that I have a variety of options, right? Most importantly is the ability to set this as the home page for the entire organization. In short, what this will do is when I get to the AgilePoint homepage, I will then see my custom page as a result. Now that we've completed our page, let's walk through creating a custom menu. So as you can see here, I'm back at the Page Builder homepage, and I'm going to select Add Menu. We're going to call our menu the V8 Training Menu. And it's given me an internal name, so for now, I can just click Add. From here, we can select the Edit button to begin adding items to our menu, and then click on Add Menu Item. I can give my menu item a display name. The internal name will be based off of the display name, and my resource can be a URL or the various AgilePoint modules. The first example will be for an AgilePoint NX module. In this case, we're going to select the Work Center. I can have this open in a new tab, as well as give it its own icon. If I'm done, I can click Add, or I can click Save and New if I'd like to add additional. Let's do one more. This time it's going to be a URL. And then click Add. So let's save our changes. Check our changes in. So now that we've saved our menu, let's go back to the page that we've just designed. And let's add a row above. We'll add a widget. And then from the layout section, let's add a menu. So let's add a horizontal menu. And this will enable us to select the menu that we've just created. Now within the menu settings, you'll see that I have the option to include a brand logo, in which case I can specify a URL or upload an image from our library, set the menu height, text color, menu background color, as well as menu background image. We're going to leave all of these with their default settings for now and simply add our menu. Okay, so I'm seeing that we need to adjust our menu height. So let's go back to settings and let's change this to 100 pixels. Now, as you can see here, I have menu items alignment options, the ability to show icons, and when the menu should activate. But for now, let's save and close our settings. And as a result, our page is now complete. We've shown how to add menus, how to add various items to a page, including various sorts of media, as well as AgilePoint components. You now know how to build your own pages to completely replace the default AgilePoint experience. And this concludes the content for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.